Hello, everybody.
Hello.
To the next Botten and Klum show. It's good to see you again, all, and it's good to see you, Brian. Awesome. You just woke up.
Good to see you, Kai. Yeah, we're back.
How late is it in Omaha?
It's 10 a.m.
10 a.m. So, what did you have for breakfast?
Well, you know, I'm a man of high tastes, so I had a bowl of Fruity Pebbles.
Oh, what is this?
Yeah. It's pretty much sugar.
Okay.
You know?
Sugar?
Yeah. Pretty much sugar. What about you? What did you have?
I had a very special breakfast. I love this stuff. This is actually it's a coffee with a roll mops. I call it coffee roll mops. I love it.
And you dunk the roll mop in the coffee.
I started without any dunking, but then now since a few months I'm dunking, and it sounds weird and it looks weird, but it's just super tasty. And we already had the plan that you will come to Zurich when we're able to travel again, and then you will have coffee roll mops every morning, and I think you will love it.
Wow, is that mandatory?
It is.
At your house?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right.
So, how about having a little recap of the last show?
Oh, the last show was fantastic. We had Alan Glickenhaus, the Glickipedia. And he's just called the Glickipedia because he just reels off all of the relevant information, all the pertinent information about the API economy. So we talked about the API economy. What is it? Why are APIs so important to this new business model we've got in these digital times? And he talked about why the API economy was so strong. And it was really nice to have another Long Islander on the show.
As always, so you can fall into your slang coffee stuff, and maybe you can introduce roll mops as well.
Okay. Yeah, it's a nice combo.
It is. So we had a guest and we have a guest, and today I'm more than happy to announce a very special guest. I know for a long time it's Mr. Amancio Booza. Hello, Amancio.
Hello, guys. Hey, super excited being here.
So how are you today?
I'm really fine. So this morning it was really exciting. I got finally a package I was waiting for 6 weeks. And it's this new device. So it's the Blackmagic 8 Mini Pro.
Looks good.
Yeah, inspired.
Because you just inspired me to level up my equipment for video call conferencing.
Wow. It wouldn't be a Botten and Klum show if somebody didn't hold up some kind of device that had about 500 buttons on it. So.
Yeah.
So this thing will actually shoot your video presence and the amazing stuff that you're already doing to the next level, because it's based on hardware and you don't have to fumble around with all these little software products anymore. It's cool stuff for you. So and I'm happy. Congrats.
Gadgets.
So we've got a topic today. And the topic is this super long word. I think it has perspective if we put it in here. It's the value proposition interface canvas. And I read this article of you, and it's just amazing. You're bringing so many aspects together we are always talking about in a very, really consumable and digestible way. And so tell us something about the value proposition interface canvas, maybe the history, maybe something like that.
Yeah, so in the end it's a tool, but there's really nice story about it. So it starts with you, Kai, and Andreas Julian. Some years ago, we really created this first kind of API product. We even realized that it was kind of an API product. We called it different, like business solution. Mm-hmm. And there was a journalist taking a photo with you, Andrea, and me in front of this blackboard. Mm-hmm. And I write an article, right? And I was so super proud it gets published and so on. I showed it to my wife, and she just destroyed it. For she, it was complete crap. There was no structure, no red line, no story. And she asked me, okay, what's the message about that? And it was
in a loving way, though, right? She destroyed it in a loving way.
No.
No.
She ended up in fire, throw grenades. So it was really frustrating. So I want to tell the story, what's really about this API and how it's creating value. And then wrote this article, the API is dead, long live the VPI, or the value proposition interface. And then all of a sudden it resonated with a lot of people, right? But it was just an idea, a word, and no kind of an application of that. And then I did some research, what other people are doing, then found some really cool, interesting methods that I could apply and extend. And then out came the value proposition interface canvas. In the end, it's a tool to really, which makes it explicit how an API really provides value to a customer.
So why the focus on value? Because I know, we Kai and I work a lot with customers, and they want to get right into building stuff, right? Building digital products, building APIs. What made you, what clicked, to focus in on value and get people to start to collaborate and define value together?
Yeah, I mean, I was working in an API factory where we built tons of APIs and then just realized nobody just used them, and we wondered why. And also, and it somehow evolved, and also Andrea, a really smart guy, he just said outside in, right? And then we really started from the customer, really trying to understand, really like real product managers, starting to understand what's actually the jobs that he wants to get done, what's the pain that he has in order to get the jobs done. Starting from there and then looking, okay, what assets in our organizations do we have? Like what are business processes, interesting data? Because when you understand the jobs to get done of the customer, it creates a bias, it creates a context, and you see your company, the assets in a different way, and you can then select what's relevant, and then create the value proposition, because the customer has to understand what you are actually solving, and also you want to validate with the value proposition, not with the internal assets that the customer doesn't care or understand, but with the value proposition, telling him how you are going to solve his problems.
That sounds good. We are working with many companies, and I'm working with API programs and teams, and I know how we struggled to give our initial idea to just come out with an API and somehow to monetize it. It just doesn't work. And we came from this project-driven approach to just get this stuff out and do something with it. And I think after 2 or 2.5 years, we had this glimpse that this has to change, and then we turned into a complete program and then later into a tribe and squads, and then we could really do this product management thing here. It's just fantastic. And when coming back to the canvas, do you see any difficulties in teams to apply this, to use it? Where's the weakest point where they say we struggle with that?
Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, I did some workshops also with clients applying this value proposition interface canvas. So let's call it just VPI canvas. It's a little bit shorter. And it's in the end, okay, they thought, okay, it's just another post-it war that you just create tons of post-its, put it there on the wall, and then you don't understand. So what right now?
Yeah. So that's, I mean, because it's that aspect of it that I think is so engaging, right? And makes it so powerful, is that because recently I was bringing that to a customer that I was working with, and somebody said, why do we have this other form to fill in? Because it was the canvas was actually presented as a form. It's like, no, that's not the point. The point is that this is a collaboration technique. This is a practice, right? Isn't that right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's really the canvas is not just a form that you have to put or fill in with content. It's really a process where you involve many people, like the customers themselves and other stakeholders. And it's a process. It's really about the flow, how you fill in the canvas. And then, I mean, you first start with the customer, okay? What really is the jobs that he wants to get done? And sometimes it's really that's the first question where everything stops, because people start discussing who's actually our customer. Yeah. Is it a project manager of the other customer? Yeah. What's actually their problems? And then you see it's all assumptions. So people don't have the contact. They don't know who the customers are. They don't have the relationship with the customers to ask them what actually their problems is and also their pains. But it's a starting point. So when you start there from the jobs to get done, what are the actual pains to do it?
Yeah. Do you think that, just a quickie, do you think that things like customer journey mapping also play into this? Because I think you're talking about the jobs to get done. And again, depending on who's in the room doing the canvassing, you sometimes get people say, well, the first job that needs to be done is user needs to get authenticated. And you're like, whoa. Wait a minute, back up, right? But like, and you can keep backing up until you get to the real thing that needs to be done, right?
Yeah.
I
mean, that's true. Also, customer journey mapping, that's a great approach to put it in front, to understand what's the customer needs. I like to have this analogy with Super Mario. You know, what's the goal of Super Mario?
Oh yeah, come on.
Nintendo game. He wants to save the princess. That's his goal, and not go from level to level or kill enemies. He wants to save the princess. And our value proposition is give him the tools to help or to save quicker or with losing less life his princess, right? And not having a fire flower or star that jumping out of the box, this kind of thing.
So this is KPIs adopted at the right level. Saving the princess.
Exactly.
It's not about it's about the what, saving the princess.
That's the definition of success.
Not about the how to do it.
Yeah, that's cool.
We are running into that all the time, and we have got many discussions, and there is a tendency of digital teams, because they're all technicians, to talk about how we solve something, all this what Mario has to do to just finally be ready for the princess. So this is really cool. And more to the canvas. How do you do it? How do you facilitate this process?
Facilitate. I mean, I'm working with a client to really understand the jobs to get done. I mean, there are various methods like customer journey message, service mapping, these kind of things, understanding the pains, and then really involve also the internal stakeholders or architects, engineers, backend specialists, also from different business process owners who have really the knowledge about what assets are in a large organization that can be relevant for that. And then it's really a kind of a collaboration. It needs some time. It's not obvious to really formulate what's the value proposition that you want to formulate, what's feasible, what's also monetizable for the company. So that's not only relevant or useful for the customer, but also for the company. And then match this also with the business goals. And that's where the API product manager comes into the play.
It seems like it kind of speeds up the process and makes it more collaborative, the process of planning for digital products and powered by APIs, right? Because what you just said there is a lot of organizations that I talk to struggle with that concept of reuse. You know, as an architect, I used to think, well, you know, all we have to do is build these things and then people will come and reuse them, but there's got to be a way for people to actually come together and understand why we'd want to reuse something and why we wouldn't. And then thinking about doing that across a whole program of work, if everybody's operating in that mode, then reuse is actually going to be, you know, something that you could actually achieve and not just something that's never happens, right?
Yeah. Yes, I mean, there's a lot about reuse. I think there are two types of reuse. I mean, you have usually mostly an enterprise architect who has this huge plan about the organizations. He can define reusable building blocks, the APIs, and see, okay, in this project you can reuse this, and that. But he's kind of the central brain who brings everything together, makes it really a generic, and explains all the others how to actually use it. But in a world where you have to really, where time to market matters, where you have to really learn in a really, really fast way, where you have different teams that really need to grasp how do the building blocks actually work, what are actually relevant, what can I actually use, then you have to really to make it really digestible for them, really understand, okay, this thing solves this problem. is relevant for you, yes or no. And that makes it really more usable for, let's say, a less controllable consumption, internally and externally.
So we ran through this the hard way because we hadn't have any idea at first, the first 2 years, 1.5 years about API product management. We couldn't apply such models at all. And usually, if you're talking to technicians, they don't have any contact to the business. And so they're just cooking their soup, their IT soup, and the organizational structure is built up to avoid the technicians are talking to customers. And so, when we started to just bypass all this enterprise architecture, people at a certain point and get in touch, and what happened then, and we had to sit. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, this kind of guerrilla tactic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a lot of trouble. I mean, you try to, you get the mandate or you want to create business value, and then it's the huge organizations that just say, okay, this is your place, you're here to build this for this project, that's it. Don't create value, save costs. By building APIs, and that's your KPI, the amount of KPIs.
Two very really different things. Yeah.
And I mean, I remember it was really hard to fight these kind of organizations or convince and inspire the right people to really that this is a feasible approach and brings really value. And in the end, I think Andrea is now in Swisscom really with successful products, really showing what's the value of behaving like this. But it really needs that you don't do like that's a development team, that's kind of the brain and so on. You need really these verticals. People who really care about specific use cases, scenario, problem, or a customer, and really have a kind of more or less end-to-end responsibility to really make it work and make it happen.
And so, working in such a digital team like you've been working for such a long time and such a squad, how did it change the feeling of work? I'm remembering a great time and a lot of laughter, and we had so much fun. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, it changes a lot. It's really like working in a startup like environment, where it's not only, let's say, your IT skills or software engineering skills that are required, but let's say your whole spectrum. It's really like, this term of a T-shape engineer. But it was really like a T-shape, but so large. You need to take care about DevOps, engineering, APIs, but also product management, marketing, monetization. How can you make it a pricing model? Everything. So from the whole spectrum, like in a startup, and that's so fascinating. And I mean, I had really great luck with Andrea. I mean, he gave me really the opportunity to just jump into that, and I could really grow and experience things that I could never experience otherwise. So it's really
we're going to have him on the show for sure. Yeah, we're definitely going to have him on the show. And you mentioned there product management, and then we talked about the different levels of the teams. You do, though, need somebody who's got that product mentality, because I think in a lot of organizations, especially those that are not startups who are trying to combat, digital disruption, they need to act more like a startup. Everybody knows that. Everybody talks about that. What do you think about that notion of having those product managers, the rise of the API product manager?
Yeah. So it's a really the foundation of everything, because it's not about having projects and just deliver APIs. So you need really somebody who has a vision about the product, because you always get these requirements from left, requirements from right, and you say you don't want to be the bad guy that says always no. So you need somebody who has the vision, who knows when to say no, when to say yes, and also makes all this stakeholder management expectations. Okay, how do we create business value, and how does this API product really relate to the business goals or support the business goals and the strategy of the company? Because that's really what's make API product management so different. It's not usually not the core of the organization, but it's really supporting the organization's overall business goals.
Amancio, I put the link to your article about the value proposition interface canvas, right down in the comment section. And since we've got 10 minutes left here, I would love to talk a little bit about the book you're writing with Andreas Julian. By the way, Andreas Julian is here for dinner tonight.
All right.
In my house. So we're going to talk about whatever you say now.
We can hold you to it.
Yeah.
So what is the book? What are you doing? Why?
So why? It's it was it started more like really naive. It was also kind of a method to really show in the organization that we are doing something from relevance. So we start with meetups, just presenting ideas and first tools. We got so great feedback. And we thought, okay, let's write the book, like a kind of this PowerPoint like books, like 30-page book, something like that. Okay, let's do that. And turned out we have so much content, so much to explain, and such huge topics. So let's just write a real book. And we just started it. Also, it's kind of like a lean startup approach, just announcing it, that we have an idea about an API product management book. Look, what's kind of validation of the market? Is there some need? And yes, there was need. And then we are putting it piece by piece together, chapter by chapter, tool by tool together until it's finished. And during the process, getting the feedback integrated until we have really a book that really provides value to the people and to the community.
I've already seen the preview and it's fantastic, and I discussed with Andrea and with you a lot about the topics and to just narrow it down to make it more dense and all this stuff. This role of an API product manager is somehow it's a future role, and because you won't find them inside the organization, because the organizational hierarchy doesn't allow to have such API product managers that are in contact with customers. So I'm so happy that you're writing the book and more people are having at least a book to read about what has to change on how to become an API product manager. So what do you think what personality is needed if it comes to an API product manager?
Yeah. It's a huge responsibility. I mean, you have to carry really a lot on your shoulders. It's really you have to be so bold and smart and everything. It's crazy. I mean, you have to understand really the business, the market, and really products. What is it actually, and how does it really work? And you need a lot of technical understanding, knowledge about APIs, API design. What is actually developer? What does he care about? Because that's usually also something that product managers that come really just from the business don't understand the user of the APIs. And that's a complete different kind of customer segment or user segment to understand. And also, it's not like you create a digital product and that's it. It's really a digital service. I mean, an API it's a digital product offered as a service. You need to understand that. Yeah. And convince. I mean, you have to talk really to heavy engineers that understand only engineering, and you have to communicate with business who understands just business, and really translate both, and also with the customers outside.
Yeah, I think that's why they're so rare.
A lot.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty rare, and I would say that organizations need to think about not putting limitations on people. I mean, I kind of fit that bill because I had the pleasure of doing 12 years of my own consultancy. And when you're a consultant, you tend to be thrust into these different roles, and they just say, well, we're paying you X, get on with it. And you talk to the business, you talk to the technology people. And so I feel like having that kind of consultative mindset is really important too. And I would say to organizations, don't limit people, let them try different roles, because that's the only way that people will get such a broad spectrum. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. So you need quite a broad kind of experience and knowledge and skills. And usually, I mean, from my experience, it really helps if you have kind of a technical background, because that's way easier to get into this API product management role and really fight for it, because it's not something that it's not an official role. Usually, it's not something that's really well known. Even product management is not really well defined. Product managers still are fighting for their role and their meaning. But you need really somebody that cares about the customer and really fights for them within the organizations, and looks that also the organization serves, creates or benefits from creating value.
Yeah. So we are coaching team members of digital teams to become API product managers, and so I think one thing I always see, it just needs a lot of empowerment to take that role and just to say no and to run for something, be a more extrovert person. Usually developers, traditional developers aren't extroverts at all. They're just focused on their little screen, and then it has to go up. And so I think an approach, a combined approach, having your book with something like with a pass and with all the stuff in it you have to think about, plus a coaching for product managers or for existing team leaders to become product would be really helpful here. We have to spread this really wide.
Yeah, but I also think, I mean, also let's say the type of engineers, it also changes. I mean, before it was probably more kind of introverts, but nowadays you see everything. It's the extroverts, the introverts, the combinations, also people that have startup experience, also more kind of business savvy. And it's important what you said, Kai, the empowerment to really give them the trust to create value, and then just let them run and really somehow align with the strategy, to align with the strategy. Then it turns out good.
Good. Brian, you had another question.
No, I think we're getting to the close of the show. I think I wanted to ask you. So you've got the book. Is there any other next big thing that you're doing? I know writing a book must take most of your spare time. But what else is going on for you?
I mean, well, I could say after the book is before the book. No, but I think it's really important. I mean, there's the book, right? Who reads the book? So I think we really need some kind of do kind of workshops or education to really help people to apply or bring also new insights, new methods to really make it grow and share this kind of tooling and mindset to really help other people to have this kind of API product management skills and really know how to apply it, learn together how to apply it, where it fails, what works really well.
Constant feedback. Yeah, absolutely.
So I really hope for the future that we are collaborating on that. This coaching approach plus this approach to apply specific knowledge that you need to have to do this stuff, and then just strengthen the people to get them to another point. And even this is a transformational moment if you are getting into the role of a product manager, and you can do this. So we've got 1 more minute. The next big thing for you, again, talk about your ATEM Pro Mini and what you will do with that.
Aha. Yeah, good. Well, the next big thing would be the API Days interface when planning to reuse, because with this nice gadget you can make picture, show your face and your screen, these kind of things. So that's the next thing I'm working on.
Perfect. So Amancio, 30 minutes are over. The time flies by.
Yeah,
really.
Just burning away. Thank you so much for being on our show. It's really inspiring what you're doing with Andrea together. The book, I read the preview, and even the canvas, just to apply this knowledge that you just accumulated there. I think this is something really big that you've created there.
Yeah, so thank you. I enjoyed really talking to you. It's really a great show. I'm looking at live every time. So it's really nice to be also once in a while in this show.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. And what you just said is a testament to what we're really trying to do with this show, is to build a digital community where people can get inspired and start to do their own thing and bring it live to people all around the world. So thank you. Yeah, thanks for being on.
Thank you so much.
Great mission.
Bye. See you next time. And don't forget to hit subscribe. By the way, this show was powered by Axway. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Smile and say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Ciao.